Hi everyone, welcome to Creative Thrive, the podcast where we dive deep into the journeys of those shaping the world of creativity, fashion and beauty. Today we have an exceptional guest whose hands have not only sculpted some of the most iconic looks on fashion runways and in global ad campaigns, but have also been instrumental in pushing the boundaries of inclusivity and diversity in the beauty industry. Her remarkable talent and creative vision have made her a celebrated name internationally. Known for her extraordinary range and versatility with all hair textures, she has become a beacon of innovation and artistry in hairstyling. Beyond the runway and the glossy pages of top fashion publications, she has been pivotal in educating hairstylists across over 25 countries, sharing her profound knowledge and passion for hair. Her role as a global artistic director for one of the world's largest prestige beauty brands for over a decade is a testament to her influence and expertise in the field. But perhaps something that stands out the most is her commitment to advocating for diversity. In 2020, she authored a viral guide that sparked a significant shift in the conversation about inclusivity in the fashion and beauty space, particularly concerning textured hair and Black hairstylists. Her insights have been instrumental in bringing these long overdue and crucial issues to the forefront, changing the beauty industry's landscape. Her recent contributions include aiding in the development of Pinterest's innovative hair texture search tool, which has been a groundbreaking addition to inclusivity in digital spaces, launching a mentoring program focusing on Black women in fashion, and her latest endeavor that's currently making waves in the fashion world is a multi-pronged educational event designed to empower professional hairstylists with the skills and mindset necessary to enhance their work with coily and curly head clients. This isn't just going to be an event. It's going to be a call to action and a catalyst for change, aiming to foster an industry that fully embraces inclusivity and actively advocates for equality. This will further her impact and, I believe, her legacy. Everything this woman does continues to redefine and elevate the hairdressing world. Naima Lafond, it is an honor to have you on Creative Thrive. Thank you for joining us and for being a beauty industry trailblazer.
Thank you so much. I want to just wrap that up and take you with me. You have me crying at the onset. Thank you so much. Just hearing you say my bio is just an honor in itself. So thank you.
Same. I'm so, wow, you're a powerhouse. You are a powerful woman. You really are. And it is so refreshing and so inspiring to see someone that not only has the skill to do the amazing work that you do, but also has the heart and the grace to include people on the journey, open up the tough conversations, share yourself with people, and truly make change for the better.
Thank you. Thank you.
How does it feel to be you at the moment?
I don't know. I just feel blessed. Blessed to be able to give and share with the reach that I have. Not everyone has that. So I want to make sure that I honor it and use it well, you know?
Yeah, and you are. It's actually one of the things I'm really curious about to ask you and to talk about is because you have such incredible success, well-deserved and earned, and recognition. And undoubtedly, you are a role model and a leading voice in the industry. And given that influence that you have, I'm curious the sense of responsibility that comes with that when you have so many eyes on you, and how do you navigate that visibility, especially when it comes to your personal aspirations, your creative freedom, and honestly also advocating for diversity and inclusivity within the industry?
For me, it's really important that I am careful with what I say and how I say it, but also honoring what is true to me, because there's a balance in that. Because you can speak your heart and no one can listen because maybe your delivery is off, and you're coming off too harsh, and their ears are closed, or perhaps you're just saying it in a way that people aren't quite understanding. So I always pray and meditate for clarity in what I say and how I move through the industry, because I know there are a lot of people watching me. There are a lot of eyes on me. So it's very important for me to take my time. It's taken a while for me to get to where I am in my career. And that's because everything is at my own pace, in my own time. I have not tried to rush myself to the top. I just take it as it comes. If I feel something is off, if I feel it's not the right time, no matter how much money is on the table, matter how much exposure is on the table, I will turn it down if it doesn't feel good for me and for who I want to be in this industry.
Have you always been like that? Because that is such a skill set to have.
I have. I get that from my mom. She, I think, raised me to think about what I say and how I say it. Um, Probably too much in the beginning. I was very quiet, very reserved, very careful with what I say. But then I found my voice when I was like in my early, I don't know, late 20s. Yeah, definitely my late 20s, early 30s. I found my voice in the sense where I realized that just because you speak truth, just because you do things or have hard conversations, doesn't necessarily mean you're hurting anyone. Um, you could also be hurting people by not saying the thing that needs to be said. So there's a balance in opening up your mouth and using your voice and not just doing it haphazardly. So my mom definitely taught me. I always would call her, I still do, like, Mom, I want to do this. Like, what do you think? And she'll say, like, wow, yes, definitely say that. Or, Naima, you should take some time to think about that. Or, you sure that's what you want to say? Or, do you sure that's how you really feel? Or are you reacting from another space? Kind of think about that. So she has taught me pause and pace for sure.
That's such a blessing to have those people in our lives that can hold that space for us to have those conversations,
Yeah.
and also allow us to reflect back and check in on ourselves, though.
Yes.
Right? Because yeah, I in preparing for having this conversation with you, and we have met before, I am such a fan of your work, but really diving into all things Naima, which I did. So you've been part of my dreams and just constant thought the past few days. The thing that I kept coming back to is being in the position that you're in now with so many eyes, that responsibility. And my impression of you is that you're very intentional.
I am. I am very intentional. It has to make sense for me. I represent a lot of people. I represent an entire culture. I represent my daughter, my husband. I represent myself. So for me, anything that I do, because I'm in this light, it's not just you did it one day and no one ever is going to think about it again. It is part of your story. So I make it a point to really be intentional about what I do and make sure that everything that I'm doing is leading towards the goal that I'm trying to get to. Like, I don't just take any job. I don't just participate in any project, take on any project. It has to make sense for the long term. Because at the end of this career, I don't want to look back and just say, I did hair. I want to have had some kind of positive impact on human beings and experienced human beings myself. Because life is more than, your work. It's
Mm-hmm.
interactions. It's moments like this where I'm sitting and speaking to someone that I've looked up to so much. Um, it just means everything to be intentional. This taking this is very intentional for me as well, because I don't just sit in any interview, because not every space is a safe space. Not every podcast is a safe space. But when you reached out, yes, was the first thing that I thought of.
Um, I had that assumption, and it has not been lost on me. And I truly, and I know I'm emotional, so I'm okay calling out my emotion. I'm not trying to center myself in this. I am looking for inspiration, and you are someone I look to,
Thank
and I
you.
am so honored to have this conversation with you and to learn more about you, because my curiosity is piqued, and you just brought something up that was one of the questions I had for you. How is being, or how does being a Haitian American born in Brooklyn
Mm-hmm.
influence your sense of creativity, sense of style, sense of aesthetic? For me, it feels like it does influence you in many different ways.
Yes, it's definitely what I pull from my culture first, because those are my first memories of hair feeling like, whoa, like feeling some kind of tingle about hair. I always think back to, I was sitting in the hair salon watching my mom get her hair done. She's like getting a roller set by this hairstylist. And it was my first time going with her to the salon. And I'm sitting there in the chair behind the styling chair, and he just starts taking the rollers out. And then he takes a brush and runs it through the curls. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like, I had never felt that feeling before. I was just like, gasp, like, oh my, like, why did that feel amazing to me? And it was my first time remembering loving what hair felt like and looked like. And there's Haitian music playing. It was this Haitian hairstylist who lived in Haiti, and he would come to the US every now and then to do like his American based clients. And my mom was so excited that she had this appointment. And I was like, wow, like a hairstylist come all the way from Haiti to do your hair. This is amazing.
Real.
Yeah. And my mom wasn't great at doing hair. But she would always obviously have to do my hair. So I got to a point where I'm like, I have to figure this out on my own, because all she would give me were these like just 2 braids or like 3 braids. And I'm like, maybe like fourth grade, third grade. I'm like, I need to be cute. So she's like, you can figure it out yourself. So I just started to learn how to do my own hair through just trial and error and playing in my cousin's hair. When they would come over for the weekend, I'm just like hands in hair. And also, like, I would go to a lot of cultural events. Every summer I would spend the summer in Haiti with my dad. He lived in Haiti in
Okay.
Haiti. So we would go to Carnival. we would go up to like the countryside, and I would just see hair that would look so different in the way it's styled than New York City. Like women just like letting their hair just be free. It's not overly styled or coiffed. And I think I can see that in my work where there's like kind of like an organized chaos to it, where it's like done, but it's like,
but it's unstructured and
yeah, it's just living.
Yeah, it is. It's lived in the best way.
Yes.
When you see the work you do, it is polished,
Right,
but lived in and sexy.
thank you. Yeah, I definitely get that from Haitian women.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I wondered if there was a big influence from being a Haitian American, and it sounds like you're the first generation.
I am
American.
Yes.
So having that culture and music and fashion and the way women wear their hair and traveling right back to Haiti and experiencing all these things comes through in not only obviously who you are, but in your aesthetic and your work.
Yeah. I look at it as like being a writer or a painter. Like what comes to you is things that you've experienced. How you write is through experience. How you create art is through experience. Same thing with hair. I'm not really thinking about the things that I learned in school first. I'll use those to shape what comes to my mind and execute it.
Mm-hmm.
But what comes through first is experience.
I had heard you do actually a podcast, and you talked about before you were trained, we'll air quote, you were on sets and you were doing hair on sets, and that led to you going, for licensing, going through the classical training.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that helped you, of having no rules, like just working organically, right? What felt good and what looked good without having, don't do this, you got to do that, don't do it that way.
Absolutely. Just winging it for 2 years really helped me shape my signature and who I wanted to be as an artist. And then I went to school and they're like, that's not how you do that. You do it like this or you do it like that. And afterwards I was able to marry the two and make the two make sense. But that's why when I teach today, I always tell people, like, take what I'm telling you and feel free to flip it on its head. Feel free to do it backwards. Take some parts out, rearrange it. I'm just giving you some tools and how I do things, and also from my point of view, because we're all artists, we all have a point of view. What I'm teaching may not at all be how someone else teaches the same exact thing. And that is okay. And that's how art can look so different and hair can look so different on different people and different textures. We're all working from different points of view. And it's important for me to make sure I let my students know to grasp that, to like tap into that. It's not about how I'm doing it. I want to show you how you can do it for yourself. So take what I teach you and use it.
To me, that is creativity. So the way I view creativity, it's not only an end result. It's the journey. It's the journey of how you get to that end result and what you do in between from that seed, right, that's planted conceptually to the end result of whatever it is, the creation. When you create your end results, and listen, you've had some pretty epic end results that have been captured on runways and magazines in front of people at classrooms. Do you walk away from that? How do you feel when you walk away from that end result? Are you looking, going, oof, next time I want to do this? Or as you walk away, you already planting the seed for the next creation that you're making?
I hope this doesn't sound too full of myself, but I always walk away feeling like just like euphoric, I just let out something that was like choked up in me, because like let's say I'm working on a project and you think about it like what am I going to do that day? How am I going to do the hair? What is the model really going to look like in person, and how's the hair really going to come out? Because you could plan all you want, but once you get it in front of you, it could be a different situation. So that build up, and then the day of, where I'm able to just go for it, because I also hate to plan hair. I want to see the model, the person first, and see if she is someone that can carry what I had in mind, that wants to carry it. Is it even meant for her? So it's important for me to like wait till the day of, and that also causes anxiety for the team too, because they're like, you don't even know what you're gonna do. I'm like, don't worry, I'll figure it out. But it always works out. Like I just have to wing it. That, and I think it comes from my editorial days too, where there was a lot of just like make it work, and that works for me, because I feel like it's just like my angels moving and my creativity going. It's not this like planned structured thing. I'm just in the moment, going with what feels right, going with what's in my heart, and I'm always okay with what comes out from that. Because it's the best that I literally leave it all on the table. It's the best that I've got. I know I give it the best that I have, all of it. And I always walk away feeling like exhausted, depleted. So I'm like, I gave it all. So I don't have any, so if you're
I
not
love that.
satisfied, I don't know what else to do.
I love that. And there are two things that jump out at me on that. The first is it is not full of yourself to actually be able to reflect on what you've done and say, yes, yes, I gave it my all. I'm so envious of that. I don't have that. I walk off and I critique. Oh, hell no. I'm like, I got the stick out, beating myself up as I'm walking off, like, oh, I should have done that differently, or I could have done that, or next time that could have happened, which in many ways I think inhibits creativity, but also just celebrating yourselves. We should celebrate ourselves. So I love to hear that. And the other thing I hear from you is creativity is fluid.
Mm-hmm. Creativity is very fluid. I think when I first started off in my career, I would like every year, the next year, I would look back at the work that I post and I'm like, oh, let me just take that down. I'm like kind of embarrassed. But then I got to a point where I'm like, I look back at it, I'm like, wow, like there's this evolution happening, like this growth that I see. Like I don't want to delete that. I want to let people see that it wasn't always like this, that there was a journey, you know?
That's life, right? Like
Yeah.
we should always be evolving.
Yes.
Our best self tomorrow could be totally different than our best self today.
Yes.
And that is evolution, but that is also for me creativity, because it's the lens we look through,
Mm-hmm.
how we view things, even challenges.
Yes. Yes.
It sounds like you're good under pressure,
I
and
am.
especially being editorial stylist,
Yeah.
you've been key stylist so many times,
That's
Fashion
where it
Week,
comes from.
right? You have to be able quick, right? Like just change
Right.
with whatever is being thrown at you or is happening backstage in the chaos.
Yes. You have to just be quick with it. You have to be creative on your feet, and just be able to go with the flow. It's that going with the flow and being like, okay, so okay, that model didn't show up. So you have this person instead. Are you going to like not do the show or not teach the class? No, you're going to teach it. Now you're going to teach it from a different perspective. And being able to do that also trained me, because I don't feel like there's anything you can put in front of me that would like trip me up, because I'm at hair shows, I'm at, Fashion Week, and you don't know who's going to sit in that chair. You never really see the casting before. It's anyone that walks in and like, hey, I'm a model. She sits down and you just have to go for it. So I'm kind of desensitized to the ability of being just not being able to go with the flow.
But it also sounds trusting, which comes back to when we first started talking, of being trusting to your talent, right? You know what to do with your hands. So you can make anything work. It doesn't matter what the situation is in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
But also trusting yourself. And I think that's sometimes where, especially young to the industry or young creatives coming in, haven't built up that muscle memory yet.
That for me comes with like traveling and seeing that no one's perfect, and meeting so many different people and realizing that everyone has their bad days, their good days, their ups and downs. So I try not to be too hard on myself because I've seen and met and experienced so many different things. And I used to be so self-conscious about being on stage or, just like interacting with people. But with all of my travel and all the people that I've met, I'm like, I'm normal. We're all normal. Everyone is just trying to do the best they can with this life that they have. So there's no need for me to think too hard about how I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up with what I have, and it has to be what it is. It is what it is,
Well, that is what, it's one of the things that I adore about you, is that authenticity shines through. It's not an act. It's not play. It is you. And even in that evolution of seeing your work and seeing what you do, you can see that it is always true to you and true of what is happening.
Right.
And in that, brings inspiration for other people watching it, because it's very evident in your work and in who you are. But that also breeds creativity for me, because what does a prep look like for you though? So if you're getting a client ready for the Met, which you have done, or you're doing New York Fashion Week, which you have obviously done, there is a village, right? There's a village. There's a model or a celebrity. There is a designer. There is a makeup artist. There is a publicist. There perhaps is a client. There's all these different things. Yeah. So that is a conversation of collaboration on a vision.
Yes.
But again, there has to be that fluidity and that authenticity and that flexibility. So how do you marry those two to make it cohesive for everyone?
I think it's been helpful that I have clients and relationships with designers who trust my vision and who hire me for how I do what I do. Because that's always like in the beginning of my career was something that would make me nervous. I always felt like I did things a little bit off, a little quirkier than other people. And when someone would hire me for a project, in my head in advance, I'm like, I hope they don't want me to do it like this person does it, because I can't do it like that. I do it like this. And when I get there, I'm like, what do you want? And they're like, do that. Like, do what you usually do. That's what we want. We hired you to do what you do. So I've been blessed in that sense, where I think my look, my aesthetic kind of is in a specific way where if you're hiring me, if you're wanting me to work with you, it's because you want a bit of that aesthetic. So that's helpful. And it's also helpful that I have great assistants that go with the flow with me, where I'm like, ladies, I don't know what we're doing today, but we have hair prepped for any and everything. We have all the extensions. Bring it all. Yeah. We have several like luggage of kits. We have everything. ready to go just in case. Because you could also have like your own vision. I can come in thinking like, okay, I think we're going to go in like this direction. And then we get there and the dress that was supposed to be the dress has changed. So now I'm the one pivoting. It's not necessarily even the client, where I'm like, ooh, what I had in mind doesn't really go with this.
Mm-hmm.
So forget the big and curly. We're going to do like a straight, sleek bob. So we need like some straight extensions. We need the flat iron, all the things. So for me, it's always coming, because I know how I just can be random, always coming prepared to go in any direction and not plan for the one thing that I thought was going to be the thing.
Are you a planner? You strike me as you're on the fly. I know how busy you are. We all know how busy you are. We can see all the travel and all the work you're doing. So it sounds like you're always on the go, but you strike me as a little bit of a last minute person. Is that
yes,
true?
I am. You caught me. Yes. I was like literally jumping out of the shower 15 minutes before our call. But yes, I'm not a huge planner, because I feel like life doesn't really go with the plans most of the time. So I kind of just wait and see how I feel. I mean, that doesn't work all the time, especially when you're, doing business. So it's great for me to have business partners that are more planners, and I can just like be in my creative space, my zone, where I'm like, that doesn't feel right, or I'd rather do this. But for me, it's really about feeling it. Like I could have this like thought about doing something. Like I wanted to do this texture on set class last year, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like it doesn't make sense right now. I just don't understand why. And then something happened. Like I posted something about like at a hair show with like this girl with like the yellow fur coat, and everyone was like, you should do a masterclass. And I'm like, oh, like, whoa, okay. Like that's the moment that I needed, because I was like so unsure that, is it the right time in my career? Am I qualified to teach a masterclass? Like all the things were going through my head. But that kind of like validated for me. So
Hell yes, you are more than qualified. And I want to talk about texture on set. It feels really big. Like it feels for me, again, on the outside, looking at the social media posts and seeing what you're posting, going to your website, it feels big, and it feels exciting.
Thank you.
And it feels like it's going to change a lot of things.
Wow, thank you. I didn't envision it to be, in my head it was like a 30-person class. I'm like, oh yeah, just a little classroom, like nothing crazy. I'll get a model, I'll teach a master class. But the feedback that I've gotten has been so overwhelming. The support that I've gotten, the sponsorships that have been coming in, I'm just like shocked, honestly, where I like reach out to a brand and they're like, yes, absolutely, for sure. And I wasn't expecting that. For some reason, I just wasn't expecting that. I was telling my husband, I'm like, I know I'm going to spend a lot of money on this class, like a lot of out-of-pocket money, because I'm going to like get my own models. I want it to be a nice space. But surprisingly, the industry is right there supporting me through all of this. So,
as they should be.
Lord, thank you.
As they should be. It feels, again, intentional.
Yes.
Right. And we've already talked about the fact that you do things with intention. So it feels intentional. One of the biggest things for me that felt really intentional about it is that it's in Brooklyn.
Yes. Yes. I wanted to be in my safe space.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, where I learned everything that I know. and I've taught everywhere except for Brooklyn. You know,
Really?
I've never taught in Brooklyn. No, I've never taught in Brooklyn. Um, well, I've done like internal classes in Brooklyn, but not like, no,
Nothing
I've never
big.
done nothing big in Brooklyn. So I'm really excited about that. The intentionality for it for me is like, I see a lot of the feedback from models and people in the industry about the lack of understanding of texture when it comes to fashion. And we are seeing a lot of great educators address texture education, but a lot of it is for the salon, which is absolutely needed. One of the
Hmm.
biggest gaps that we have right now, um, because of the lack of education in beauty schools. So a lot of people are doing a lot of great work in that space. But I wanted to zone in on my fashion girls, like, because that's the area that I know about. That's where I have the experience. So I never want to teach something that is not from my background. I never want to teach something that I can't fully speak to with all my heart. But this texture on set in fashion is something that I feel like I have a lot to offer on, a lot of information, a lot of experience. And I think it needs its own attention. I think it needs its own spotlight. Um,
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
important.
It for me, same but different conversations,
Mm,
right? The conversation is the same of it's about time.
mhm.
It's about time. The
Yeah,
conversations are being had,
yeah.
and the experts that I see and I admire and I follow, um, like Kia, right? In
Yes.
a salon space,
Right.
amazing educated, doing incredible work and education in a really needed space, but then different to this space that you're doing. But
Right.
all of it is so incredibly
All of
valuable,
it. All of it. All of it is needed.
and all of it is needed.
Yeah. We can all advocate from different spaces, from different points of view. All of it is needed to get a full understanding, a full scope of the issue, because we can't all just speak from one point of view, because it's not just being experienced from one point of view. So it's important that the leaders in each space can speak to it, like Tippy and Pakila
Mhm,
with Textured Hair Elevated. They're
mhm.
doing some great work as well. So all of the voices are key.
What what do you hope to create with Texture on Set with the initiative, and what impact do you hope to have on fashion and beauty industries?
With Texture on Set, I want to create a safe space for models with textured hair. I want hairstylists to have a full understanding of what it means to create a safe space for a model, to make a model feel um, important, to make her feel seen. I want to show what that looks like and show what that feels like. I want to make sure that hairstylists, whomever, black, white, whomever, know that we're all in this together. We don't all know everything, right?
Hmm.
And making sure I'm creating a safe space for that conversation too, because I never want anyone to feel like, is this like, a space where I'm going to feel like bad about myself or bad about the fact that I didn't learn textured hair in school. No, let's call it a blank slate. We're starting from today. We're going to figure it out as of today. So if today you take what you've learned, you absorb it all, and you use it on set, you use it with the girls in fashion, that is all I can ask for. That is all I can ask for.
And you learn it to grow and to be
Yeah.
inspired,
Yeah.
right? To I can't imagine how And I'm curious, I'm going to want to talk to you after, even in a DM after
Yeah.
Texture on Set. I'm curious to see how you feel
Mm.
when it's over, especially being in Brooklyn, and especially with all the response that you've had, and then what that next iteration's going to be. Because I
Right.
have a feeling the next iteration, probably there's already a seed that you've planted somewhere inside yourself, even if you haven't given it the time or attention
Right.
yet. I know there's something coming. I know there is. I can feel it.
It's like I can feel it in the back of my head too, like it's become like a beast that I didn't even like they say you plan, God laughs. Like it's way more than I expected it to be. I'm way more than I expected to be in this. I am showing up and being so creative and having so many ideas and expanding Texture on Set in ways that I didn't see myself doing. Because, like I said, I thought it was just going to be this small masterclass. But as it evolves, I'm evolving with it. I'm learning different things. I'm using experience that I've learned in working with beauty brands for the past 15 years. So that's what you see when you see that it feels big. I learned to do that. I learned how to show up in a big way so that my voice can be heard. So,
Yes. And also, I love that you're showing up big, because many people, and I do believe many creatives, have become accustomed to making themselves small. I'm going to call it out, especially women, especially women of color, right? Have become accustomed to making themselves small. And to stand in the full expansion of who you are in this moment without apology and with the grace and openness to invite other people into that space to learn and grow together. And to your point, let's start from today.
Yeah, that's it. Let's start from today.
Yeah.
Let's do better. Let's move the needle forward together. That's how I want to advocate. Um, I'm not big on talking about it over and over. I want to do something to make the needle move forward. That's where I'm good, where I feel like I can make a difference, where I can be impactful, is the doing of something.
Yeah. The actionability of it.
The actionable a lot. There are people like Kia who are great with the conversations and breaking things down and giving people clarity and understanding on race relations when it comes to the beauty industry. That is something that Kia is great at. And I love that. We can do different things in the same space. We can be impactful in different ways towards the same goal.
Yeah, and we all need to show up, and we all need to be accountable, and we all need to be actionable, and that will look different on many people, and it is our job. And when I say our job, I mean my job to do the work.
Yes.
Right? That is my job. My job is to show up and do
Show
that
up.
and do that work and
Yes.
learn what I need to learn
Yes.
and do better once I know, right? And then it's doing better every day moving forward and learning more to help move everyone
Yeah.
forward
It's
in
just
the
growth.
right way in our industry and also just as human beings.
Human beings. Yes. That's
One
it.
of my favorite, I know this is going to be silly, but it was just so heartstring for me. One of my favorite shoots that you did was with your daughter. I think it was Allure. Was it Allure
It
magazine?
was Allure. Yes.
And you did a shoot together. I don't know how it came about, but it was so delicious.
Thank you.
And so cute to see the two of you together. I'm really curious, how do you balance that? How do you balance that mum, wife, you with this rock star of a creative that's traveling all over the world and doing all of these things and planning these things? How do you bring that together to work for you?
I learned from some really smart business women in the industry early on that there's really no such thing as balance when it comes to being a mom, wife, businesswoman, all the things. It's really about showing up your best self when you're in that moment. So when I'm with my daughter, I'm like fully with my daughter. I'm in mom mode, sitting on the floor, playing with Barbies. When I'm at work, I'm in work mode. When I'm in my creative space, etc. Just showing up as your best self and wherever you are in the moment, because that is all that you can do. But I also make it a point to keep her a priority as I navigate my career. Because when she's not good, I'm not good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not good in my heart when she's not okay. And also, it just doesn't work for my work. If I'm not in a good mental space, my best creative self won't show up. So it's important for many reasons that I take care of her, take care of home first, make sure home is good, home is in a good space, because home is my heart, and my heart is also my where I pull from my creativity. So if that is in chaos, then I just won't be able to show up well creatively. So she pretty much navigates what I can do and cannot do. For example, I remember my husband and I went on a vacation, like just a couple's vacation, two of us, for a week when she was 4. And we came back from that vacation and she was like upset that we had gone away that long. And the following week, which maybe not even the following, like 5 days later, I was asked if I could fly out to Grenada for a shoot. And my husband never says, don't do that. That's not a good idea. But this time he's like, no, she is going to lose it. Like, do not. And I did. I called them and I'm like, this is like literally would probably be the best shoot of my career in the moment, but I can't do it. I just have to say no because I have to be home with my daughter. And the great thing about that is that they're like, we need it to be you. So if you need to get a nanny and fly her out with you, we just want you to come. And I was like, wow, like, look at that. I prioritized her and I was still able to navigate through it's going to work. You know, you can say no, you can let doors close. Whatever's supposed to happen is just going to happen anyway. Whatever's for you is going to be for you anyway. So do what feels good in your heart. And that's why it's important also for me to not navigate through my career in any negative energy, like doing, cutting throats and, stabbing people in the back, doing all of that, because that's not going to get me anywhere good. That's not going to be good for my career. I want to give out what I want back. I want love. I want peace. I want a unity. I want connection. So I try to just do that and navigate that way. If it doesn't work for some reason, if doors close because I'm not showing up in a certain way, then I just let them close.
And sometimes doors are meant to close.
Yeah.
Right? They're not the right door for you. Mm-hmm. Like I love what you said about your daughter. I couldn't imagine being a mum and being on the road and doing all of those things. I know what it feels like to be on the road all the time and living out of suitcase and dog tired, right? Or feeling poorly because you've just got off a flight and you you're expected to be somewhere, and having like a little one excited to see me and waiting for me. So I love that you, of course, prioritize her, but also learned to say no, and it still worked out, because that's just the universe going, this is meant for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Again, it's being creative, because there is always a solution. Creativity, to me, at its kernel, at its core, is looking at things in a different way and solving whatever challenges could be there, or not even challenges. It's just looking at it through a different lens, and finding a different way of doing things in your own way.
In your own
and
way.
Making it happen in your own way, with your own special secret sauce that is you.
That's so important. When you say that, I think about the fact that you should never look at anyone else's career and their path and how long or short they took to get to certain spaces, because all of our careers look different. It's all different. It's just all about your journey, all about you, your life. Life's going to have ups and downs and twists and turns. You have to follow your journey and not look to the left or right and see what anyone else is doing, because if you're too focused on that, you'll never think you're getting anywhere. Meanwhile, you're probably like blazing a trail.
Agreed. And then I think you become so hard on yourself, because we put this, especially now with social media, and which is wonderful, and also not wonderful at times.
Right.
But people look at what is in front of them, or what's being put on the gram, or what they're seeing, and thinking, oh, well, that happened overnight. Look at that. That didn't take any time at all. Look at that. That was so quick. Why am I not fast? Why am I not there yet?
Right.
Where's my time? And your time comes when it's ready, when you're ready, when you're ready to accept it sometimes.
Right. I try to tell my assistants that, or the girls that I mentor, that what you're looking at on Instagram and the careers that you're seeing that are blossoming, there's a lot of hard work that goes into that behind the scenes that is not really the cutest thing that people want to post, So you probably won't see a highlight reel about it. I try my best to show like my early days, or talk about when I first started, just so people can see that it's not an overnight thing. Because if I glamorize the overnight success, I feel like people will look at what I do as unattainable, as, well, she just got lucky. So I don't know, if that's going to work out for me.
That is one of my, getting lucky, or you're so lucky, is actually one of my pet peeves, because often it translates, right? It's personal for all of us. But when I hear people say, oh, you're so lucky, or that person over there is lucky, the implication for me always feels like there was no intention or work or passion that went into it. It just miraculously popped up, right? Without all the things that go into it. And
it strips your career of,
it does,
all of the things that you did to get to that point. So I never want anyone to look at me as lucky. I want you to know that I've been at this for a very long time.
Yeah. And I love that you're transparent on social media, and some of the posts that you've put on, including early pictures of working in your basement and leaving a position and not quite knowing, because it helps us all to look, and it gives people hope, and it gives people inspiration and something to work for. And I think that's one of the things we need, especially in our industry, to not give up, to keep going.
Yes.
To follow that passion, to follow those little breadcrumbs on the path of where you're going. Even if they don't seem logical, just keep following them. Just keep sniffing them out.
Right. Because it's not going to feel good all the time. And I think sometimes people think that just because it's not feeling good in the moment, this is not the right path. that's not necessarily what it is. If it doesn't feel good in the moment, maybe it's just a hurdle that you need to cross. Maybe you just need to push that door a little harder. Maybe you just need to go a little harder. And then you'll get to like, whew, okay,
Yeah.
wow, that was a year, you know?
Yeah.
But you have to get through that sometime. It's not, you don't get your feet in the mud and say, you know what, I'm just gonna back out. Sometimes you just have to just
Mm-mm.
like trudge your way through that and get to the other side. It makes it feel even sweeter when you've really put your all into it and you've made it out on the other side.
Well, and it also I think it reminds us of what we're made of,
Yes,
right?
yes,
It
yes,
reminds us of, oof, that's what passion feels like, or that's what grit and tenacity feel
yeah,
like, and determination or courage, right? It keeps
yeah.
us going. As we're getting ready to wrap up, there's a project that you were on that I'm really curious about.
Mhm.
I think it perhaps was unexpected to a lot of people who maybe weren't paying attention.
Mhm.
Your work was featured on the CMAs.
Yes.
And for anyone that doesn't know, CMAs are the Country Music Awards.
Yes.
And you work with Brittany Spencer,
Yes.
Madeline Edwards,
Yes.
and Mikey,
Mickey Guyton.
Mickey Guyton.
Yes.
Um, it was unbelievable. I think I reached out to you straight away when I saw that. Like I teared up watching them. It was such a powerful presentation. They sang Love My Hair, a song
Mhm.
about black hair pride and self-acceptance and self-love. What did that feel like for you to be picked as a creative in such a pivotal moment?
That was a big deal for me. That was definitely a big deal. I remember what sticks out to me about that experience is how emotional everyone in the room was. From, her teams, to her agents, to her creative director, to assistants, to myself, makeup, everyone was just like tearing up just as we're just like getting ready because we felt the weight of the moment
Mm,
and kind of feeling like, wow, like this is one of those the first time moments. And also the pressure of this is the first time. You have to get this right. This is the first time, all eyes on you. So I was a ball of nerves. I was just like, I barely slept the night before. It was one of those like, you set your alarm like 5 million times to make sure you don't sleep through anything. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. But it was an amazing experience. Mickey Guyton is like so sweet and like so supportive. I I felt honored to be chosen to create for that moment for
mm.
sure.
I have chills just hearing you speak about it. Listen, as a viewer watching it, I could feel emotion coming through this little box in my living room. And to watch those women was beautiful and
Yeah.
extraordinary, of how they stood in everything they were singing about, how they stood in that and again took that space and took that room was extraordinary to watch. And yeah, just to be part of that team. Yes, you
Yeah,
changed
no,
things.
thank you.
You and the team that you worked with, you changed things. You not only opened doors for other creatives to walk through, for other little girls that were watching at home. You changed their lives, I'm sure. And for people like me, you showed me why it's so incredibly important to do better and be better.
Thank you.
And I love our career so much. I love our industry so much. And to be able to see, and I'll say this, and you all can get mad at me if you're listening at home and whatever, you'll get over it. To see strong, empowering women that are blazing trails, and being supportive along the way and lifting people up and holding out your hand to other people and telling them your story along the way is just so incredibly inspiring and feels really special to witness.
Thank you.
Really special to witness
Thank
that.
you so much.
And we don't do that enough. We don't do that as women enough. We don't do that as creatives and professionals enough to hold out our hand and say, come. I'll unscrew the door, or I'll blow the ceiling off.
Yeah.
Now come.
Come, yeah.
Just come.
It's important. Like leave the door unlocked. Let someone come right behind you, you know? It's very important to do that. I think the more you do that, the more you get in life too. The more you reach out your hand and pull people with you, the more you give, the more you get. It's just, I feel like just like how the universe works. So it's always top of mind for me to figure out, how can I give in this moment? How can I be better in this moment? How can I make this more than being about me? How can I expand this moment in a way that is most impactful for people and not just myself? So,
and you are. And at this point in the podcast, and again, thank you for your generosity, I like to wrap up with my top 5 tips from our conversation today, because at this point of the podcast and the adventure that we've had, and what I believe is the experiment of creative thriving, which looks very different for all of us. It's a peek behind the curtain and learn from beautiful creative souls about how they thrive in this insanely creative and crazy universe of ours. And honestly, I am looking to reconnect with my own inner creative light. God, why do I do this? And to be inspired again.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for being here. And highlight my top 5 tips to thrive that I'm taking away from our conversation together. And the first one is on boundaries and self-preservation. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't make sense, no matter what's on the table, how much money or prestige, if it doesn't feel right, don't say yes.
That's right. I stand 10 toes down on that. Absolutely.
I love that. And on self-awareness and communication, you said pause and pace, right? Pause and pace. That's going to be a new favorite. I'm going to borrow that, if that's okay. Your mum taught you to speak your mind, be true to your heart. And yet she said that you said that she taught you to pause and pace. Right? I'm going to take that forward, because I just think that is such a succinct and profound way to actually word it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to do a shout out and say thank you to Naima's mum for that one, because myself and everyone listening, we might have to put that in our vernacular now. Yeah. On the fluidity of creativity, to honor its evolution. And don't look at your past and don't look at your past work or something that isn't enough for today's vibe. Look at it as part of the journey of how you got here right now to this level that you're at.
Absolutely. Look at the full journey. Embrace the full journey, the full picture. It's a story. You're writing a story with your life. Don't start it at today.
Yeah, if we can all just remember that as we go through every day, because we are writing stories, and we really are everything in that story. We truly can get to sculpt and create it however we choose to. And the other one that I thought was profound you talked about is on moving forward. Just because it doesn't feel good in the moment, it doesn't mean it's not actually the right direction. Sometimes you just need to power through to the other side, to learn, to grow, and to thrive, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes you just need to just put your head down and go. Go as hard as you can possibly go. Like it's your last mile and you just have to push through. Just put your head down and do it. You might upset some people. Some people might not like that you don't have time for them, that you can't go to parties or show up to Saturday morning baby shower, or all the things that life entails because you are so head into this career. That's okay. Be obsessed with it. Be obsessed and stand in it, and you will see what you can do.
I love that. In Australia, we call it head down, bum up. We call it being a duck. So put your head down and your bum up.
Right.
What is your number one tip to thrive within your own creativity?
Number one tip to thrive within your own creativity. I feel that is to use your experience. Like use your visual experiences, the things that you've visually taken in life. You've been places, you've experienced things, you've met people. Let all of that be a part of the fabric that comes to you when you're creating. Let it flow freely. Don't kind of, I guess, kind of unlearn some of the things you learned in school. Unlearn some of the things you learned in classes, in master classes. Don't let it keep you so rigid. Let it make space for you. Let it show you that there are so many different ways to do something. Just be free.
I love that. And here's my number one takeaway tip from our conversation. And I'm so impressed by your generosity of spirit and your generosity of your knowledge and your expertise and experience. And most of all, I'm really so impressed and honored by your generosity of your soul, because you can feel it.
Thank you.
You can
so
feel
much.
that generosity of soul. You can feel it come through in this conversation. You can feel it come through in the work you do. You can feel it come through actually in the projects and the intentionality that you say yes to. And that truly, for me, is the embodiment and the lesson of showing up wholly and authentically you. And I celebrate you for all of your authenticity and for the inspiration you bring to myself and to everyone else in the industry, and for everything that you stand for. You inspire me to be better, a better creative, a better woman, a better hairdresser. And I know you do the same for a lot of other people out there as well.
Thank you so much, Tabitha. That means everything coming from you. I have this picture of myself at a hair show standing in front of this like huge, maybe like 15-foot picture of you, a huge Tabitha. And I think it was like maybe my second hair show teaching. And I was like, take a picture of me in front of this like huge poster board of you. because I was just always so inspired by how you show up, and you are Tabitha. No one was like you. No one is like you. You have your own voice, and I'm just always inspired by that. You're one of the first people that I looked at when I started in this whole hair show industry, and looked at you and said, I want to be more like her. Like she is someone that I inspire to be like. So to be interviewed by you today just means everything, and it just has my heart in just like mush. So thank you for
Well,
even
thank
asking.
you. Listen, I talk about this in my classes, and I don't mean to sound morbid, but I talk about this quite honestly. It's been a rough few years for me, and I'm at a point in my life at my age, but also in my career. I've been doing this since I was 14, so it's
Mhm.
40, just over 40 years I've been a hairdresser, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I look at it that I know the end is closer than the beginning. And again, that's not to be morbid, so don't everyone start freaking out over that. It's just mathematics, right?
Right.
It's just math.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they can find something for me to be around for another 500 years, I'm totally here for it. But it isn't. So to have loved an industry for so long and to seen sometimes it's slowness in embracing change and being change. And thank you for saying that I was someone that inspired you. That is so humbling for me. But to see people like you inspire it into the next generations, fuck. I am just so excited to see what you do next, and I am so excited to see the impact that you have on this industry. And I cannot wait to hear all about texture on set. I really know, I can feel it. I can feel that it is very important, and it is going to change a lot of things, and it's going to be amazing. I hope you, for you, take the minute. And I know you said you do, but I hope you really let this one land, especially because you're at home. And
Yeah.
that's always a big deal. That's always close to our heart.
Yes.
So I hope I'll be sending you, not that you need me, but I'll be sitting here with my crystal,
Thank you.
sending you any angels I've got on my side, and just
Yes.
bask in it, just feel it and let it really anchor and ground into you.
Thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for filling me up. I appreciate it all.
As we close out this episode of Creative Thrive, I've taken a few moments to reflect on the enriching conversation with Naima LaFond that we had. I feel deeply inspired by her profound generosity and authenticity. Naima embodies the true spirit of giving, sharing her knowledge, experience, and her soul's essence without reservation. Witnessing her authenticity in action and fully embracing who she is has been nothing short of inspiring for me, and I am so grateful for her generosity. Among the many insights that she shared, a few key takeaways resonated deeply with me and left me reflecting on my perspective on creativity, integrity, and personal growth. Naima highlighted the importance of staying true to oneself, emphasizing that not all opportunities are meant to be pursued. She shared a powerful mantra: if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't make sense, no matter the money or prestige on the table, if it doesn't feel right, you don't say yes. This lesson on honoring one's intuition and integrity above external rewards is a reminder of the strength found in discernment. Her story on pause and pace, as taught by her mother, stood out as a testament to the power of thoughtful communication and being true to one's heart. It's a method that fosters self-awareness and ensures our words and actions are aligned with our deepest truths. And Naima advocates for showing up big, not just in the industry, but beyond. However, she also emphasized the importance of doing so on your own terms, showing up big as you feel, but when it feels right for you. It's a call to embrace our space and voice with mindfulness of authenticity and of our comfort. As Naima pointed out, life's challenges aren't always indicators that we're on the wrong path. Sometimes just because it doesn't feel good in the moment doesn't mean it's not actually the right direction. This insight encourages us to power through to the other side, to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth, and to find our strength in the journey towards thriving. Naima Lafon's generosity, authenticity, and wisdom have not only inspired, but also reminded us of the importance of staying true to ourselves, setting healthy boundaries, and embracing the fullness of our potential. Thank you, Naima, for sharing your light with us on Creative Thrive. And to our listeners, I hope today's conversation encourages you to pause, pace, and show up big in all aspects of your life, always honoring your true self as you navigate the path to creatively thriving. I hope these takeaways inspire you as much as they've inspired me. Remember, creativity isn't just about the end product. It's about the journey, the exploration, and the courage to express our true selves. Thank you for tuning into Creative Thrive with me, Tabitha Coffey. If you found inspiration in today's episode, please follow, like, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your preferred podcast platform. Your support helps us bring more stories of creativity and thriving to light. Until we meet next time, remember to nurture your creative spirit and never hesitate to let it soar. See you next time on Creative Thrive.